Hello, hello. Good evening, Unity on the Bay.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It is beautiful to feel the energy in this room right now.
And how are you, Reverend Juan?
I'm good.
This is our first
It is
meeting together. Our first annual meeting. So do you have anything to say before I call the meeting to order?
Well, I was a little nervous about it, so I talked to Tom, and I'm going to share his advice that he gave to me so that maybe you could also take it on, which is don't try to be witty, don't try to be funny, don't try to be charming, just be yourself.
Oh.
Okay, can I just share with you all, actually? So this is how in tandem we are and how connected. Both of us at the same time, we're looking separately from each other. We're looking up, jokes to make at annual meetings. And he found that one and sent it to me.
And on that note, I'm going to call the Unity on the Bay 2023 annual meeting to order. My name is Steve McCoy, and I have the honor of serving as your president on the Board of Trustees. Tonight, Keeper of the Flame is Carmen Navedo, our prayer chaplain leader. She will be holding the high watch and holding us in prayer for this evening's meeting. If you're a voting member and you're present and you have not registered or received your ballot, you can do so at the tables at the entrance at the back. And before we proceed, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Reverend Juan so he can open us in prayer.
Thank you, Steve. Ooh, yeah, that's a better one for prayer. Let's just all take a collective breath. And just continue to tap into the energy that is in this room, whether we're here in person or virtually. We are connected to the divine idea that is Unity on the Bay. We are aware of the presence of God that lives in us and in this community. And we recognize more fully right here and right now that we are an expression of love. The love that we feel in this community, we are that love. The joy that we feel as we serve together, as we congregate together, as we lean on each other and share with each other, we are that joy. And the vision that we have within our hearts, within our minds for who and what we are becomes clearer in each and every moment as we say yes to being the channels of good. And so this evening, as we come to celebrate who and what Unity on the Bay is, who and what we are as a result of it, and who and what we continue to evolve into as we serve with each other, love with each other, and lean on each other, we simply say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this community. Thank you, God, for these principles. Thank you, God, for each other. Thank you, God, that together we know that we are blessed and that we are a blessing. So it is. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Reverend Juan. And now we're going to do the reading of the bylaws. And as it says in section D, Article 4, 410, under nominations and elections, section D, the presiding officer of the annual membership meeting shall read Article 4, sections 410A, 410B, and 410C of these bylaws just prior to the beginning of the process of the nomination and elections. So Article 4, section 410, nomination and elections. A, qualifications. To be eligible to serve on the Board of Trustees, a person must be an active member of this ministry for 1 year immediately preceding their election. In addition, candidates for election shall endeavor to live in accordance with the unity principles, work to further the vision and mission of this ministry through active service, love, and financial support. Be a sincere and continuing student of Unity, always remain conversant in the Unity teachings, and shall have demonstrated leadership capabilities and/or core competencies in areas relevant to this ministry. 410B, Leadership Development Committee. The Leadership Development Committee is a standing committee of the Board of Trustees responsible for the ongoing identification and development of individuals who are capable and interested in serving on the board. B1, selection. Each year in April, and it was April of last year, the board shall form the Leadership Development Committee. The Leadership Development Committee shall consist of the senior minister and 3 members selected in the following manner. A, the board will elect one of the trustees not up for re-election to serve on the Leadership Development Committee, and the person so elected shall serve as chairperson. And that person from the board is Iliana Rodriguez, our chair. And B, the board shall select one member from the membership other than a trustee of this ministry, or in the absence of such selection by the board, such member may be selected by the vote of the membership at the annual meeting. And C, the senior minister and 2 selected committee members shall select the 4th member for the membership of this ministry. B2, duties and responsibilities. The Leadership Development Committee will initiate a search for at least one qualified candidate per available position for nomination as members of the Board of Trustees. The report of the Leadership Development Committee will be provided to all members at least 10 calendar days prior to the annual meeting in accordance with Section 3.5C of these bylaws. Section C, additional nominations. The board shall establish a procedure for the submission of additional nominations of candidates by the voting members, provided, however, additional nominations must be submitted to the Leadership Development Committee at least 30 days before the annual meeting. And that procedure was developed in February and presented to the congregation. And that is our bylaws reading. So now I will turn it over to the Leadership Development Committee and our chair, Iliana Rodriguez.
Good evening, Unity on the Bay. Mr. President and members of Unity on the Bay, the Board of Trustees selected me to serve as chairperson for the Leadership Development Committee in conjunction with John Irving, Millie Font, and Reverend Juan Hierro. The standard procedure for the Leadership Development Committee is to invite members to apply for the board by submitting an application, resume, references, and a cover letter stating why they would like to be on the board. We meet and review all the responding candidates to confirm membership and leadership requirements are met. We also communicated with our members their ability to apply to run for the Board of Trustees. This communication was done through emails, Sunday announcements, and our webpage. We do not have any applicants outside of those that the Leadership Development Committee spoke to directly about applying. We then conducted interviews with the qualified nominees. Each committee member questions the candidates. This process enables us to get to know the candidates better and to more effectively assess them as possible trustees. This year, there are 2 vacancies on the board. The term of Dr. Mary McKenry is ending, while we also have an open seat from when Michelle Quartas resigned from the board to apply for the Director of Operations position under Unity on the Bay mid last year. Please note that Eddie Dominguez, past board president, 1-year term is also coming to a close. This year there are 2 candidates, Jody Johnson and Kevin Moran, who have been interviewed and approved by the Leadership Development Committee. Unity Worldwide Ministries encourages the recruitment of trustees who possess a high spiritual consciousness, as well as specific and needed professional expertise. This balance of skills and attributes helps ensure the sound leadership of our spiritual community. The committee feels confident that the candidates meet the qualifications requested by Unity Worldwide Ministries. Will candidate Jody Johnson please come forward to make a 2-minute statement on why she would like to be on the board?
Thank you, Iliana. Hello, Unity on the Bay. I was at Deepak Chopra a couple weeks back, months back, and was talking with Juan, and he said, oh, someone from Unity will be calling you. I said, for what? Do they want money, or what do they need, right? And he says, no, they want to know what you want to do of service. And I thought, well, you know, I've been a prayer chaplain, I've done this, I've done that. I don't know, maybe one day I'll be on the board. And he goes, oh. And I went, what did I just say? But it kind of came from here. And while I wouldn't necessarily have thought it would be now, I thought maybe in a year or two, or I would do that. But I believe in spirit and its call. And I remember reading or hearing that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And I'm clear that I stand on the shoulder of giants. Mary, you, all of the people who have been on the board that I've seen over the many years of attending Unity on the Bay. So I really don't know what I'm stepping into, but I'm clear that I'm called, and I'm willing to answer that call. And that's really all I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Jody. Will candidate Kevin Moran please come forward?
All right, hello, Unity on the Bay. Well, I have to say, and I've actually said this story to a lot of you. When I first walked into the door of Unity on the Bay, when I moved to Miami 9 years ago, I was looking for a spiritual home, and I went to synagogues, I went to Episcopal churches, I was literally on a hunt for where I was going to plot my seat. And I came to the 9:30 service, and I laughed, I cried, I just felt it. And all I kept on saying was, wow, wow, wow. I stayed for the 11:15 service. And, you know, I had the bug. And the reason I had the bug is I'm not a recovering Catholic. I was born and raised as a Catholic, but I learned so much. But the one thing that I knew, that I was always seeking my own faith. And when I stepped in the doors of Unity on the Bay, I was told that very first day, it's your journey, you write it, right? I was told the first day that literally they're inspiring me to figure out how my spirituality works, right? So that bug started right then and there, and I became a loyal Unity. I no longer had to search for a spiritual home, and I've participated in a lot of workshops with a lot of you here, and a lot of you I haven't met, and I'm meeting you tonight, you know. Jody, you took the words right out of my mouth. I really feel like I was called to this, you know. When I left Miami, the one things I left for a year, and when I left, the one thing that was really disheartening was the fact that I was going to be losing my Unity family here. So I found the Unity family in New York and was going, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, you know? And I have to say, I came back here a very broken individual. I mean, I came back here unemployed, homeless. I came back, literally, I picked out a place in Miami Beach where I was going to live, and it was under the MacArthur Causeway. I mean, that's how and I used to take 2 buses to get here because I couldn't figure out how to take 1 bus, which you can take 1 bus from Miami Beach to get here. But the one thing is that when coming back, the only thing I really looked forward to was coming back in the door. And when I came back in the door, I felt like I was home. And I remember sitting in Unity just bawling my eyes out about, I'm home, you know? The one thing I knew is that I had to do something. I had to do something to occupy myself, my time, so I got involved in spirit groups. I started hosting spirit groups. Again, I started getting that inspiration, the fever. I was feeding my soul, you know, and I was surrounded by soul mates that were doing just that for me. And that bug has not stopped. You know, I come in here, I write notes in my phone. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks dedicated to Unity messages. I mean, there's just so much. And you know what? This is the most amazing product that I've ever found in my life. It's my toolkit. It's my inspiration, it's my home. And the one thing I know is when I was asked to be on the Building Your Future committee, I was like, hell yeah, and I mean that, because there is a huge future for Unity on the Bay, and I am called to take a role in trying to form it. So I'm happy to be here, excited about the future of Unity on the Bay, and knowing that I'm gonna be a part of it, but knowing that all of you are gonna be a part of it as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. So by now, all eligible members should have received a ballot. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to look at your ballot. And I do want to clarify, if you read the ballot completely where it says vote for 3, that's incorrect. That's a discrepancy. There are 2 candidates only, and the number 2 is correct. And then again, where it says ballots with more than 3 is incorrect. There are 2 names, will not be counted. So all you have to do is put a check mark next to the person, both people, that you would like to vote for. And somebody will be coming around and collecting the ballots.
Thank you, Iliana. And now I get to do my first president's report. But what about Kevin and Jody? Isn't that amazing? And we are home, aren't we? Yes, we are. So good evening again, Unity on the Bay spiritual family. Thank you for being here, and even this evening, both in person and virtually. Tonight is a special evening when once a year we come together to celebrate and be grateful for what we have accomplished over the past year and where we are going. And yes, to even pat ourselves on the back. And when I say ourselves, I mean the board, the staff, and you, our community. As Esther Nicholson so beautifully put in a song a couple of Sundays ago, we are one heart, one soul, and one dream. Together, we have supported and honored each other's journey through this transformative year in the life of Unity on the Bay. I'd like to begin by acknowledging our celebrations. I think we agree. We really enjoy a good celebration here at Unity on the Bay, and we do it very well, if I do say so myself. I have to start with Reverend Chris Jackson's retirement celebration. It was an amazing send-off. We rented the Little Haiti Cultural Center. It was packed to capacity. It was an inspirational service, followed by good food and fellowship. We showered Reverend Chris with our unity love to carry with him into his retirement. Then about a month later, we had Reverend Juan's installation, right here at Temple Israel with Martha Creek. It was a beautiful day, filled with gratitude and love for Reverend Juan, as many of us had known him for many years, and it is a blessing to now have him as our senior minister. Stand up, Reverend Juan. And hasn't he raised it a level? Those Sunday talks. There you go, Mildred. And then there was our Love and Light Gala. It was an incredible evening at Parrot Jungle, made up of a silent auction, dinner, dancing, and it kicked off our Give Miami Day fundraiser. We introduced Reverend Juan to the community at large. It was a wonderful evening of fellowship. And finally, I know many of you got to enjoy our peace picnic in the park. It was a beautiful sunny day, and there was something for everyone, from yoga, meditations, to face painting and games. We had great barbecue food, and there was a lot of love and laughter. Now, I know you all must be asking, with all that celebrating going on, did the board get any work done? Let me tell you, no grass grew under your board's feet. A Unity on the Bay tithing policy was developed, and you can find it on the Unity Bay on the Bay website. You can also submit recommendations for organizations to tithe. In 2022 through March of 2023, we have tithed over $140,000 to organizations such as Global Empowerment, Ukraine Relief. Yes, yes, we are a tithing community. Branches, Unity World Headquarters, our Helen Vivian Backpack Drive, Dunbar Elementary School, Amigos for Kids National Abuse Prevention Program, and Miami Beach Pride sponsorship. Your board has approved a budget of $50,000 available to be tithed this year in 2023. The Reverend Chris Jackson Scholarship was established to honor Reverend Chris's legacy and support Unity on the Bay's vision of humanity inspired to its divinity. The scholarship seeks to foster academic spiritual growth for new generations of Unity ministers, teachers, and leaders. Applications just closed on March 15th, so more to come on that. We continue to implement our strategic plan. We established a steering committee chaired by Eddie Dominguez and includes Reverend Juan, Michelle Carates, and myself. We are focused on working with different committees and councils in the areas of fund development, service and products, leadership, education, fellowship, and marketing and communications. And we are growing. We have some beautiful, talented people and new faces we've hired over the past year, and I'd like to introduce them to you. Our engagement manager, John Filez. There's John back there. Our development officer, Eva Baker. Eva. Jeffrey Morgan, our new admin assistant and jack of all trades. And our director of operations, Michelle Carates. Michelle reminded me at the last board meeting that in June she'll have been an employee of Unity on the Bay a year. I don't know about you, but it seems Michelle has been here forever. And a little secret, tomorrow is Michelle's birthday, and it's a big one. So tone up those vocal cords because we are going to sing happy birthday a little later. We had our first graduating class of Unity U University. Unity U is a unique and fulfilling year-long program of classes and workshops, both online and in person, specifically created for individuals to involve in their spiritual living and practices. You can find out more on the Unity on the Bay website. Reverend Juan created a membership newsletter. Each month we hear personally from Reverend Juan's what's happening at Unity on the Bay. It's a great way to keep up to date on the Unity on the Bay events. And you should have had one in your mailbox today, April's. And for our community, congregational care packets have been created for people passing through difficult situations in life, such as grief, healing needs, and addiction. If you or a loved one desire support, please reach out to our congregational care ministry. We are here for you. We had our first Random Acts of Kindness Day event, about 25 of us on a Friday evening, February 17th in Woodwood. It was really beautiful bringing our Unity love to the Miami community. We broke records with our biggest fundraiser of the year, Give Miami Day. We raised over $90,000. Yes. And Unity on the Bay was the highest number of individual givers of any non-for-profit. And the energy and momentum has continued into 2023, and I hope you're feeling it. In January, we hosted Deepak Chopra right here at Temple Israel. We had a sold-out crowd. What a way to start 2023. The board established a bylaws committee chaired by Carmel Colson, and the committee includes myself, Mary McKenry, Reverend Juan, and LaWanda Joseph. There aren't major changes to our bylaws as we just updated them, but we tweaked the bylaws based on recommendations from the community, and we are currently reviewing them with our attorney, and then we will be bringing them to the community for a vote. And the Racial Justice Ministry has really thrived and prospered this year. They had a book club spirit group at the beginning of last year with the book America's Racial Karma, An Invitation to Heal. And what about the celebrations at Black History Month, highlighted with the Motowners, with an afternoon of good food and fellowship? Wasn't that rocking here? Yes, it was. And then a couple of weeks ago, your board, your staff, and leaders here at Unity had a seminar with Esther Nicholson on compassionate accountability, healing bias and racism. It's really an enlightening seminar, and the Racial Justice Ministry and the board are discussing how we bring it forward to our community. And the Racial Justice Ministry adopted the Dunbar Elementary of Overtown. Dunbar is an under-resourced school. You can donate through the Racial Justice Ministry on the Unity on the Bay website to help their teachers buy necessities for their classroom. The Racial Justice Ministry weaves the thread through everything we do here at Unity on the Bay, illustrating our values of diversity and inclusion. Thank you for all serving on this growing ministry, especially Kelly Busey and Carmel Colson, the co-chairs of the group. The prayer chaplains are recruiting for training. We are so blessed to have these prayer warriors who share affirmative prayer and pray not to make it right, but to see it right. If you are feeling the calling, please see Carmen Nevedo. She's here tonight. Angels Everywhere just had their first backpack meeting, and they have set their intentions on a record-breaking number of backpacks for 2023. And the Gala Committee is in full planning mode for this year's celebration. So mark your calendars for October 14th. And lots is happening at Unity on the Bay. Reverend Juan gave an inspiring talk last week on service. So if you want to meet some amazing individuals, make new friends, want to step out of your comfort zone, you can volunteer as a sacred server. Now is the time to get involved. Finally, our search for our new home. It is the board's #1 initiative for 2023. We currently are working with 2 real estate agents, and over the past year, we have visited a number of properties which have allowed us to really have clarity and focus on our criteria. We established a Finding Our New Home Committee comprised of Kelly Busey, Eddie Dominguez, Reverend Juan, and myself. And I'm going to go out on a limb and make a prediction. 2023 will be the year we find our new home. As you know, Miami is a competitive market, and we are competing with developers. And there's a property out there for us, and God has a plan, and it will happen in divine order. Before I close, I'd like to thank a few people. First, the board. Please stand up. You truly are an inspiration to me and our community. You give tirelessly. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to our community. I know if I asked each one of you, you would say you receive so much more than what you give, because that's just who you are. I especially want to thank Eddie Dominguez and Mary McKenry, whose term is up this year, and I'll come back to you both in a few minutes. That's just a token of my and our appreciation. Next, a big thank you to the staff. Please, all of you stand up and show them some love, please. Your energy, enthusiasm, professionalism, humor, and love for this community is a blessing to all of us. We feel your energy at the Sunday services and when we walk into the 2800 Biscayne office. You all make up such a powerful force. You continue to do great things, and I know I speak for our community when I say, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I particularly want to recognize Michelle and Jason. Stand up, Michelle and Jason. This year was a year of transition. I think we'll all agree it was a year of transition. And I have to say, you both are a big reason for that success. You were behind the scenes, implementing the board's transition plan, creating the celebrations, while still doing your day jobs. We couldn't have done it without you both. So thank you. You are very much loved and appreciated. I'd like to thank all the sacred servers, the ones here tonight and the ones who have served throughout the year. Thank you for your time and your treasure that you bring to Unity on the Bay. Thank you to Iliana Rodriguez, Reverend Juan, John Irving, and Millie Font, who served on our Leadership Development Committee this year. Didn't they bring us 2 amazing candidates? And on a personal note, I'd like to thank the board, the staff, and you, our community, for your love and support as your president this year. I had some big shoes to fill. I remember when I was a prayer chaplain in training, they would always say, I invite you to stretch. And I thought, what a nice, positive way to let you know you have room to grow. This past year has truly been a year of stretching for me. I didn't know at my age if I still had that growth in me. I mean, I just retired. And this year, being your president has been a most rewarding year for me. So thank you, Unity on the Bay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. To finish, these are exciting times at Unity on the Bay. 2022 was an amazing, transformative, transitional year. As I mentioned, there is an energy, a momentum that continues to drive your board, your staff, and our community. We continue to implement our strategic plan. We are forming strategic partnerships in our community that align with our values. Our new home is manifesting under the guidance of God, and we are growing. And our future is bright, Unity on the Bay. Thank you. So next, we have our treasurer's report with Dr. Mary McKenry as our treasurer. And then after that, Nick Brunzell, our chair of our investment committee, will report.
Thank you. I can't be as entertaining as he is. These are numbers. So this year was a year of change, and you may not be aware of it, but in the accounting department, our controller left mid-year, but she was wonderful. I'm really appreciative of her willingness to work with us through several months of transition, even though she was employed, moved on to her new employer, and Kenyetta, I really appreciate that. I also appreciate Julia, who had to take on more responsibilities during this time and has helped us to manage the transition. And most of all tonight, I would like to acknowledge and give a big thanks to Michelle. Little did she know that the director of operations was going to have to manage an audit. So thank you, Michelle. At noon today, we received the audit from our auditors, and I would like you to understand that this is currently a draft until the board of directors has reviewed and approved it. But let's go get started in reviewing it. If you look at the statement of financial position, you'll see that our current assets total $21,459,508, and they're broken down by our cash is $1,782,564. Our investments are $19,486,247. Our receivables are $148,940. Our prepaid expenses are $38,723, and our inventory is $3,034. If we look at our non-current assets, you'll see that we have the board-designated endowment, which is $5,223,651. Our property and equipment is $67,014, and our deposits are $11,904 for a total of $5,302,569. So our total assets at the end of December 31st, 2022 is $26,762,077. Continuing with the statement of financial position, our liabilities and net assets, if we look at our current liabilities, our accounts payable and accrued expenses were $35,949, and we did have some deferred revenue of $4,395. So our total liabilities were $40,344. In addition, if you look at the net assets, we have two categories, one without donor restrictions and a small amount with donor restrictions. Without donor restrictions, you'll see that for the building acquisition, we have with two different financial institutions, $20,894,429, and the endowment of $5,223,651, and undesignated as $597,442. So the total without donor restrictions is $26,715,522. Then we have, with some donor restrictions, 6,211. So our total net assets is 26,721,733, and with the liabilities, this totals 26 million, big difference, $762,077. So that was our statement of financial position. Then if we continue and look at the statement of activities, you'll see that our revenues come from tithes and offerings of $264,783. Prosperity classes were $51,072. Classes and training were $23,234. The special events were $70,499. Our bookstore sales were $5,670, less the cost of goods sold of $25.29. So, and we also had miscellaneous income of $377,774. Yeah, I believe you're aware of what happened with the stock market during the year, and so you'll see that our investment lost $3,515,113, and also we released some of the restricted funds, and so what was released was $3,757. So because of the change in the stock market, you can see that our revenues were loss of $2,720,853. If we look at our expenses in the statement of activities, you'll see that in terms of programmatic expenses, they total $979,048. And they're broken down in terms of services. Our expenses there were $578,215. Classes and workshops were $15,138. Ministry and community programming was $86,760. Sacred service, we had an expenditure of $71,084. Stewardship, $33,799. And tithing was, from the operational funds, were $194,052. There are two sources of tithing that we do as an organization. This is referencing what we tithe based on operations. We also had expenses associated with administration of $534,615, and development fundraising costs were $43,465, for a total of supporting expenses of $578,080. So you'll see that our total expenses was $1,557,128. Continuing with the statement of activities, you'll see that the change in net assets for those without donor restrictions was a loss of $4,277,981. Because we released funds from those that were restricted of 3,757, you'll see that change there. So the total change in net assets was 4,281,738. And then if we look at the statement of cash flows, you see that amount, and it's broken down for you in terms of depreciation was 7345. The change in the investments, the 4,200,746. And then we had some changes in assets and liabilities. We did have an increase in our receivables of 146,207, an increase in our prepaid expenses of 20,529, an increase in inventory of 824. We had a decrease in accounts payable and accrued expenses of 41,052, and also an increase in deferred revenue of 4,395. So you can see that the net cash flows from the operating activities of a loss of 277,864. In terms of the investing activities, there was mid-year, and Nick is going to talk more about the investment committee, but you'll see that there was a change in on the recommendation of our investors. So there were sale of investments that netted 8,426,020, and then we purchased investments based on that sale. So you see the 9,094,116. There's a small amount of purchase of property and equipment. So the net cash flows from investing activities is 669,896. And so you see the change beginning of year to end of year was 947,760. And then in this last slide, hopefully the slides are keeping up with me, you'll see the breakdown of our expenses. Often people wonder, well, how does Unity spend its money? And so you can see that for salaries, our salaries total 478,904. The rent between both locations was 194,331. The tithes totaled 176,129. The cost of the musicians, 155,821. We do have contract services for IT and other things that total 115,829. We spent 84,912 on supplies, 82,811 on food, snack, and gifts. Payroll taxes and benefits was 62,159. And the rest of the breakdown, you can see all of those expenses are less than 50,000. So I don't know if you can read that, but those were the expenses. So that is my report, and Nick is going to come up and give the investment report.
Good evening. I just have 37 more slides, so hang in there with me. All right, so we have our accounts broken down into three basic accounts just to keep it concise for this evening. So our first account with City National Bank, our total account value is $12,250,739. That's broken into a few different areas. The first is emerging markets and equity, that is 1%. Our domestic equity is 12%. International equity is 5%. Alternatives are 2%. And what's our alternatives, right? So alternatives are just different ways of investing. It could be gold, it could be commodities, global infrastructure, private equity. We just put it all in one group to make it a little bit easier. And then domestic fixed income. So Mary talked about the stock market last year, right? And really with the stock market last year, we had many meetings with our financial advisors from very large wealth management firms. And the consensus was there's nowhere to hide, right? I mean, everybody who had money in the market, you lost money. There was nowhere you could put your money that was safe. So what we did throughout the year, that's why you saw we had a loss of some investments. We sold a lot of what we had, and we put it into domestic fixed income. So what that does is it is safe, it is fixed, it's generating us income. So as the market hopefully starts this curve back up this year, we can start to kind of reposition ourselves. So don't think that we just sat back and said, $3.5 million will be okay. No, that's not the case. We had many meetings with our financial representatives to make sure that we were doing due diligence with the accounts. Next up, we have our BNY short-term fund account. Account value $9,012,906. 3% in cash, 66% in fixed income, 23% in equities, and 6% in alternatives. So a similar look on investments here as with City National. And then our long-term fund with BNY, we're 5% cash, 36% fixed, 45% equity, and 14% alternatives. So even though they're the same 4 categories, you can see how it's diversified within the categories, right? Some have, this one has much more of the equities than the other accounts do, right? Because in a long-term account, you want more equities because over time, right, eventually it's going to go up. So luckily, we didn't purchase any properties this year, right? God's time, like Steve said, right? Maybe we didn't want to buy something this year. Last slide for me, my favorite slide, right? Our total account values for our investments are $26,528,138. 2023 year-to-date increase with City National is $140,640. 2023 increase from BNY is $230,825. So far year-to-date, we're up $371,280. Thank you. What, Faye? Okay. You want something you want to share with the class? No? Okay.
So as you all know, it's a challenging year out there in the stock market. People are still trying to figure out what's going on. I think even the feds. So we are put most of our investments in conservative, and they are earning 4 to 5% in those money market accounts. So now we have the presentation of the President's Awards. As president, Eddie established 3 President Awards, and tonight I want to carry on that tradition. The first President Award is for leadership. Prior recipients of this award were Sandra Tagle, Angela Rivero, Amy Baez, myself, and last year, John Irving. Is John here? I saw him. He was here. Okay. Anyhow, the person to receive this year's award is a very unassuming and humble individual. She has a smile that lights up the room, a heart of gold, and is a true angel. Renee Schaefer has been a congregant since the 1990s. She has been active with our Angels Everywhere program for close to over 10 years. Renee became the coordinator for Angels Everywhere in 2020. Driving our record-breaking backpack drive, she coordinated with all the organizations to distribute them. She oversaw the toiletry drive and the Arts on the Bay with Emily Moises Center. She has handled our Thanksgiving food drive in coordination with our partner branches. Renee has organized and led our Christmas Joy program, adopting families and providing Christmas gifts to those going through tough times, and coordinated our Christmas visits with Sacred Service to Emily Moises Center and Mactown. Renee is a guardian steward. She not only supports Unity on the Bay with tithing of her talents, she also shares significantly with her treasure. For all she does to shine our Unity values in and outside our community, I am proud to present to Renee Schaefer the 2023 Unity on the Bay Leadership Award. This is the 2023 President's Award presented in gratitude to Renee Schaefer, Spirit of Leadership. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for that. Oh, yes.
It's all about the we. Thank you.
Yeah, let me help you down this step. As you know, the next two President's Awards are usually for generosity and service. But these next two individuals represent generosity, service, leadership, and so much more here at Unity on the Bay. So I made a presidential decision. I wanted to personalize these awards to reflect what these two amazing individuals have been to us at Unity on the Bay. The next award is called Above and Beyond. Dr. Mary McKenry epitomizes a life of service at Unity on the Bay since becoming a member in 2006. She has served in a variety of capacities on a number of committees and councils, such as the Education Council and Strategic Planning Committee. Mary has been a prayer chaplain. Actually, she is a prayer chaplain because I believe when you become a prayer chaplain, you're always a prayer chaplain. She is also the longest-serving board member with 13 years and has served in the roles of president and treasurer. Give her a hand on that one. You must like going to the dentist, too. Wow. Mary also received the Unity on the Bay Exemplary Life of Service Award in 2015. Mary has been a person of integrity and inspiration on the board, guiding us like a beacon with her light, love, grace, and generosity. On our current board, Mary is our treasurer and serves on our Bylaws Committee, Executive Committee, and Investment Committee. And even though Mary has termed out, I am happy to tell you that Mary will continue to share her love, passion, generosity, and boundless willingness to serve as she has agreed to continue to serve on these committees as a congregant. Thank you, Mary. It is with great pleasure that I present Dr. Mary McKenry with the President's Above and Beyond Award. says, above and beyond, presented in gratitude to Dr. Mary McKenry for your exceptional commitment to demonstrating and inspiring excellence, love, and service. 2023, Unity on the Bay.
I am so touched by this, and I can just say, I think that Unity on the Bay has changed my life in so many ways, and it's just a joy to see how it changes everybody else's life too.
Let's get a picture. Can we get a picture? The next award is called Making a Difference. It is a one-of-a-kind award for a one-of-a-kind individual. Eddie Dominguez has served on the Unity Board of Trustees for 10 years, 9 as president and 1 as past president. 10 years ago, Eddie came on the board at a time of conflict and discord among the board, the staff, and the congregation. Eddie's calm, respectful, but intentioned demeanor would, I gotcha, would set the tone for his adventure of love on the Unity on the Bay Board of Trustees. I want to share with you a few of the many milestones Eddie achieved during his 10 years as tenure on the board. 2 strategic plans. I think I mentioned about going to the dentist. 2 strategic plans. The first plan determined the need for the sale of 411. The second plan created the vision about a year ago of our future home. And then we had Hurricane Irma. As you know, the Unity on the Bay site was flooded. Fortunately, the property wasn't damaged, but I remember in a board meeting where we were discussing changing our Unity on the Bay name to Lake Unity. Eddie also negotiated the sale of 411. He negotiated it twice, because the developers came back because they couldn't get the zoning that they needed. And they also wanted us to move out early, which Eddie negotiated $300,000 for them to get us to move out early. He found our home, Temple, Israel, and negotiated the lease here for our transitional home. When we got our money from our sale, Eddie brought forth 9 wealth managers. And the board interviewed and cut it down to 2, City National Bank and BNY. Eddie led us through an unprecedented health pandemic, COVID-19. There was not a roadmap, but Eddie drove us home. He guided the perfection of the online services. And in the stock market crash, which we saw in March of 2020, and our investments dropped $2 million, Eddie's cool demeanor was our guide. Under Eddie, we got 2 PPP loans completely forgiven to the tune of about $160,000. We also applied for the employee tax credit, and we'll be receiving $140,000. City National Bank, Eddie's employer, has been a major sponsor of many galas and events here at Unity, tens of thousands of dollars. Eddie led the revision of the decade-old bylaws to align with our strategic plan and our newfound wealth. And Eddie's most important legacy, and I hope he agrees, he created and he demonstrated at Unity over the past 10 years a healthy trust, transparency, and love that has been passed on to this board, the staff, and our community. Eddie has strived to serve with excellence, and in many ways, he has called our community to its excellence. For this and so much more, I am honored to present Eddie Dominguez with the President's Making a Difference Award. This says, "Making a Difference, presented in gratitude to Eddie Dominguez for your loyal dedication and unwavering commitment. Thank you for your significant contributions and your indispensable support of our mission. Unity on the Bay 2023. You earned it, brother.
I promise I'm not going to be as short as Renee or as long as Steve. So I got a text from Steve at 7:02, and it was, "Hi," with a waving hand. And the first thing I said when I saw him is the best thing of being the past presidents, you get to be late to the annual meeting. So a few minutes late. But seriously, Jody, don't think, and Kevin, don't think I noticed that you got the calling after I'm off the board, despite the fact that I think I've asked Jody at least 3 times and Kevin at least 1 time. But maybe it was just me, who knows? I certainly hope not. But I just want you all to know that this says making the difference, but you all have made a tremendous difference in my life. The one thing that service has taught me is that there's no amount you can give more than you receive back in serving. These 10 and a half years, if you count the little time on the board before I became president, honestly has done so much for me personally. You talk about stretching, Steve, go for 10 years, bro. And really, the personal growth, the love, and just the amazing embrace of this community, there's nothing like it. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for the opportunity, because in the end, this has done way more for me than the laundry list that Steve just read. Seriously, this has probably been one of the most meaningful and rewarding experiences of my life, and I'm not going anywhere, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. So now I would want to call up Reverend Juan for the senior minister's report, his first.
Not with Mildred in the room. You know, just what a blessing it is to be with each of you and to serve this community and to be able to also grow and deepen in front of all of you. I just really want to thank you for providing that space and the willingness for you to be on this path with me. We've already cried. We've laughed. There's not much more that we could experience in this meeting because we felt it all. We felt what a community is all about and what a community is here to share with each other. But I do want to share with you about how this community can continue to grow and the path that we are all on. It's been an amazing, tremendous year, has it not been? Yeah. We've experienced such love and such promise. We've experienced deepened connections. And we've also experienced some growing pains. You know, that really is the reality of it. We have experienced it all, but it's all made us stronger. It's brought us more clarity, and I believe it is making us wiser to really be able to hold not only the vision, but to know and claim how we are moving more fully into it. Now, last year at this meeting, I actually shared with you a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." He also said that faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. We haven't just taken one or two steps, we have taken several this year. And we've done it because we have trust in each other and we have faith in God that expresses as each and every one of us. When we joined together this past year, we have honored who we have been, we have celebrated who we are, and we now are anticipating who we are becoming. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm very grateful that we walk it together. Now, Steve shared with you about some of the accomplishments from this past year, and it really has been awe-inspiring, where many faith communities, and I think I really want us to just own this about who we are at Unity on the Bay and the role that we have each played, where so many other faith communities have faltered, we have actually prospered. You know, just a couple of years ago in 2019, we left the known for the unknown by moving from 411 into whatever was coming next. Then after that, we left the familiarity of what life seemed to be before COVID and entered into the unknown then. Then just a few years later, we left the familiarity of having the amazing, incomparable, beautiful leadership of Reverend Chris as he retired, and we also stepped into the unknown. We've done it with such grace. We've done it with such beauty. Where so many communities have suffered when moving through these changes, we have truly held each other and recognized the promise that is ahead. We have become a stronger community as a result of our faith, as a result of the power of community. And as a result of recognizing that we are one as we share this Christ presence that, yes, is unique and individualized in us and is whole in the sacred we, Renee. Now, I do want to take a few moments. I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words of gratitude, especially this being the first year up here. But this road has been made that much easier by so many of you, actually all of you. And I do want to thank and begin by thanking the Board of Trustees. See, I thought Steve was the only one that was going to cry. Board, your trust and your faith in God, your trust and faith in me, your trust and faith in who we are, and your trust and faith in who you individually are has made a humongous difference. I wouldn't be standing here being able to serve and being so passionate about our future vision if it weren't for the trust and faith that you embody and that you invite all of us into. I want you to know that I see you, I feel your love, I know your talents, and we are all of us here, better for having you be a part of our lives. Not just our community, but of our lives. Steve, as you complete your first year as president, your wisdom, your heart, your support is invaluable. It is crazy that we both look up jokes to make at annual meetings on the same morning. and that we are almost at the point of completing each other's sentences. Not so much yet, but we're on our way there, and I just want you to know that it's an honor to partner with you. I'm so blessed. Well, that's what makes me so lucky, that you think that. Thank you to Eddie and to Mary. Your legacy on this board, your legacy in this community, and your legacy in my heart. There's just nothing like it. I know that I'm not only able to be here as the senior minister of this community because of both of you, and I know that, and I cherish that, and I appreciate that, but I wouldn't even be a minister, I believe, if it weren't for the ways in which you showed up for me and this community. So thank you. Oh, see, I did have a joke. I was like, so we continue to, we are so blessed that both of you will continue to serve, for I know that good God has done through you, and I see God saying, I ain't done working blessings and miracles through you yet. I want to thank the staff. What a ride we have all been through this year. Jason, what a ride we have been through together for almost 10 years. 10 years. 10 years. 10 years in just 2 days. April 1st is his anniversary. Each of the staff, I know that you all know this, but I want you to hear it from me. We are serving this community, and they are serving this community, each and every one of them, in excellence, in love, and in dedication to the highest good. I want to especially honor the executive team, Michelle and Jason. You are seen, you are valued, and you are admired. I am so grateful to have both of you as my partners in faith in this journey and walk. And I want to thank all of you, our leaders, our members, our congregants, those that we serve and those that we serve with. It's a beautiful community that we're a part of. So last year, in the midst of all these changes that were going on, one thing that Reverend Chris and I forgot to put into the schedule of how things were going to go was the actual 2023 programming and financial plan schedule. And we worked together as a staff, we worked together as a board, and we presented it. And I want you to hear that small difference. It was no longer a financial plan. It was a programming and financial plan, because the financial plan is all about serving. It's all about the programs that we have for transformation, and it is all about being willing to invite other people into their highest good. And I want you to know a couple of things about that whole process. One is that the board approved the financial plan that, as in previous years, as you saw earlier, has a gap between the love offerings that come in and the level of expenses that we have. And I want you to know that that's because the Board of Trustees knows that this is a year investing in our community, and it's also because they are visionary, they are faithful, and they are trusting. And that is such a gift for us to have. And the way that we can speak gratitude to them is this year, help me close the gap. The other thing I want you to know about that process is that we, as a staff, called it the year of new. And it was just an idea of recognizing that there was something new that wanted to be birthed through us and in this community. And so we set out to create new types of experiences, new ways of doing things, new opportunities to support all of us into stepping into our divine potential. And we have worked to honor what has been and welcome in the new. In a state where some do not want us to be woke, we are about awakening. In a world that sometimes feels like it wants us to be stuck in the past, we are moving forward and evolving. And in moments where there may be trepidation, where we may be timid or shy, we recognize that our power lies in the presence of God that gives us our strength, that provides the guidance, and that supports us in being the beacon of light that we know we are and we know the world is calling for. So what can you expect this coming year? I'm going to ask you, what are you willing to live into? Now, Holy Week begins this week, and as we know, it is a powerful week of transformation. And I want to just share with you a little bit about what we have planned so that you can see the ways in which we are really supporting, celebrating who we are, and looking for new ways of celebrating it and honoring it. And so Holy Week is a week-long activity of inspiration. We kick it off this Sunday with Palm Sunday. And then for the first time, Monday through Saturday, we're going to have special live programming on social media so that we can discuss the teachings of what transpired during this Holy Week, so that we can all journey together and hold each other's hands and be that inspiration for each other in this week that we know changed the world. We're going to have our Holy Thursday Contemplative Communion service with Andrew Clark and the sound healing bath that he brings with him. We had him for Ash Wednesday, and it was the highest attended Ash Wednesday service we've ever had at Unity on the Bay. Easter then comes in 2 Sundays from now, and I want you to check out and feel what is taking place on that day, because it is the day that we put our best foot forward, and we have many exciting things to excite you and to help you realize that we are not only celebrating the resurrection of our master teacher, we're not only honoring our own individual resurrection and what it means in our own personal lives, but we are rising together and we are stepping as a spiritual community into the resurrection of who we've always been meant to be and who we can be for all those that are seeking a positive, practical, and progressive understanding of our own divinity. This is truly about us transforming into the spiritual community of the future. That Sunday, we're also kicking off a new assimilation program. It's a new way of welcoming individuals, new congregants to Unity on the Bay and supporting everyone in feeling more seen, more connected, more appreciated at Unity on the Bay. And in the way that we do that, we all will feel more seen, more connected, and appreciated. We're already using more ways to connect with each of you. Steve shared a couple of those. We have our new database system, CCB. We have the member emails, and many of you have already connected with us via WhatsApp as it becomes another way of communicating and being connected in the moment and creating community. All of you are going to be receiving an email in the next couple of days so that you can get into all of our WhatsApp groups and continue to just foster relationships with each other. We are working already on a new website, and once that is launched, we will then be launching and working on our Unity on the Bay app. And so that's going to be done by the end of this year. This summer, we kick off a new program. It's called the Summer of Abundance, which is a combination of our very popular Unexpected Income program and a series of workshops on what can create more abundance in our lives. See, it's not just about doing something new for the sake of doing something new. It's really about enhancing what we know we already do well and then stepping into the potential that we have all been growing in the last few years and really allowing ourselves to flourish individually and as a community as we do all that. In support of this growth that we are continuing to live into, I do want to let you know that we are already working on hiring a new associate minister, and so I've been working with Reverend Martha Creek as we move through that process, as we honor Reverend Anna Quintana for her role that she was meant to play here in this community while she was here, and she will continue to be connected to us. She's going to be teaching some classes, speaking here in May, but as we do that, we're also trusting that the right and perfect associate minister will hear this call. And while it may seem that not much, you know me, a man of action, a man of practicality, sometimes it can feel like not much has been happening with our building. And I get that, and I know that there is a yearning in our community for our own space and what it will do for us as we step into the future. I can tell you wholeheartedly that I believe that the steps that the board has taken over the years, and especially in the last 6 months, that they have created a clarity, a deepened clarity. They have created a foundation by which that right and perfect new home is manifesting. They have created a stronger foundation in which we will know and feel and be guided to that possibility and be able to harness the power of it and really step into what the potential is of that new home and of that spiritual community of tomorrow. And so trust in that and continue to affirm. We give thanks that Unity on the Bay, strategic plan, and new home are manifesting under the guidance of God. Beautiful. So this is not just a community. This is a spiritual home. And this isn't just my community or the community of our boards or of our staff. This is all of ours community. And so growing this community isn't just my job. It's all of our opportunity, and it's all of our responsibility. I believe it's actually a divine calling. And I believe it's a divine calling that we've already said yes to. So really, it's not about saying yes to the calling anymore. It's to really live into that sacred yes more fully. Where's Shantae? Yes. Living into the calling. Yes. Living into who we are. Yes. Living into faith and trust and love and unity. Yes. See, we have taken those steps that we have needed to take in the last couple of months and years. But I believe that there's no more steps to take in that staircase. We're now being asked to leap. And I believe we have everything that we need to trust that as we leap into the future, we are going to be held by Spirit. And we are going to be carried into the future. It all continues because of you. Your continued engagement is how divine potential becomes our lived experience. And we must all be committed to allowing the evolution of Unity on the Bay to continue to take place within each of us, then connecting with each other and together co-creating that future under the guidance of Spirit. And so I'm really here to invite you to just get excited, to feel the anticipation and to sizzle with it. Can you sizzle with it? You know, Charles Fillmore, many of you know his quote in his 90s, speaking, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me." So look for the ways in which you can express your sizzle. Show up, donate, serve, lead, and above all, pray. We continue to rise up, and we do so hand in hand. And so I'm going to ask you to look at somebody next to you and say, "I sizzle with zeal for us." I zeal with sizzle for us. Look at somebody else. I sizzle with zeal for us. It's an exciting time at Unity on the Bay. You can feel it. We just have to then allow it. And we are the ones that are going to usher it and support it in becoming not only the excitement that we feel, but the excitement that all of humanity has been waiting for. When there are so many trials and tribulations and challenges, the kind of energy that we have is the antidote. And we are here by divine appointment to be that antidote. God did not make any mistakes. We are right where we are meant to be, doing the things that we are doing together because it's part of the divine plan. So I'm excited that you are sizzling with me. I'm excited that we got to sizzle together. And I'm excited to see how we can sizzle our way into the future. Thank you so much. Namaste. I love you. I'm so blessed by you. Thank you for being part of our community. You're going to carry that zizzle with you, aren't you?
Hello? Okay. We promised a birthday song. We didn't want to forget that. Michelle, do you want to stand up?
Hold on. And knowing that you and I have the microphone, I'm like, and Dale, do you want to sing for us? We'll just hold it like this.
Yeah? Uh-oh. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you.
Is this the moment everybody's been waiting for?
This is the moment you've been waiting for. The election results. We have a tie. Jody Johnson has 40 votes. Kevin Moran, 40 votes. Welcome to the Board of Trustees of Unity on the Bay. And I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you all for making the last year an amazing year. As Juan said, we're going to sizzle. With that, I will turn it over to Juan to pray us out.
Thank you, Steve. You know what? I'm gonna invite us all to stand and maybe just get in the middle here or around, like a little circle so that we can really feel each other. I think it's working. Yeah. So I know it takes a little bit of time and some energy to get into this circle, and I just invite us to look around the circle. This is what community looks like. This is what support feels like. This is what love is. And so let's take a moment to be in gratitude for all of it. For the ways in which we have been called to be a part of the spiritual community, for the ways in which God's presence is not only being felt by us here and now, but God's presence is being made known through each of us, being made known to the world through Unity on the Bay. And in this very moment, as we rise up to meet the moment, we simply give thanks that we have within us everything we'll ever need to be expressions of good, to be expressions of light, and to feel the grace of God in our lives and in the life of Unity on the Bay. We give thanks for this community. We give thanks for the call. We give thanks for the growth, the deepening, and the evolution. And we give thanks that we have found each other. So it is, as we let it be, we say amen. Thank you all for coming, for being a part of Unity on the Bay, and for sizzling.